A star-studied panel of scientists gathers annually to discuss heady themes at the World Science Festival. The same question has been asked by the Smithsonian Institute. I've woven about 8 to 9 of the presenters' answers in soundbite form into my presentation. They were all brilliant subject matter experts, by the way. So here's my go at helping us to understand how awesome we really are. To be human means that we are affective beings, and as such, we are able to process regulating emotional states and for the elicitation of emotional reactions. We are also auditory beings. The feature that makes us human that is vastly different from animals is quite complex because we do not only hear with our ears, we hear with our heart. We are able to detect innuendos, uncover the meaning behind the most obscure statements, and hear the emotions that are driving a word uttered. We are authentic beings. This above all to thy own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. This is Polonius, Act 1, Scene 3, the tragedy of Hamlet by William Shakespeare. We are biochemical beings. The human being, that marvelous machine, precise and efficient, elegant and awe-inspiring, is a dynamic framework of bone and cartilage called the skeleton, with hinges and joints that were made to move. To mitigate harmful friction, such as moving parts, must be lubricated, obviously. So man-made machines are lubricated only by outside sources, but the body fantastically lubricates itself by its own innate manufacturing company, which produces a jelly-like substance in the right amount at every place it is needed. We are bioelectrical beings. The electrons and atoms in your body are not just cellular constituents or particles of matter within the body, but waves of living energy. Einstein said E equals mc squared, and that's true. One theorist postulated that if the electronic energy of the hydrogen atoms alone in the human body could be utilized, a single person could supply the electrical needs of a large, highly industrialized country for nearly a week. That's fantastic. It's amazing to me. We are physical beings. With our 5 physical senses working optimally, we are able to move through time and navigate this terra firma because of the beautifully and intelligently designed body. We are cognitive beings. Daniel Dennett, cognitive scientist, said, "We are the first species that represents our reasons and can reason with each other. The planet has grown a nervous system," he said. The brain is the center of a complex computer system more wonderful than the greatest one ever built by man. We are complex beings. To say that we understand someone is to deny the complexity of every human being. We are also conscious beings. The human mind, not to be confused with the human brain, has fascinated scientists and philosophers and theologians for centuries. The mind, alocal and non-physical, can be broken into 3 categories: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. We are a corporal being. We are body electric indeed. We are creative beings. An act of creativity can be monumental and awe-inspiring, such as creating a beautiful painting or building a spaceship that takes us to Mars, or an innovative new technology. We are credible beings. I call this the art of ethics and morality. We are cultural beings. We have cultures which are ways of transmitting information. Molded by the skillful hands of culture, we are educated, socialized, and fraternized. We are dynamic beings. We are both creator and creature, sinner and savior, perpetrator and victim, conquered and conqueror. We are living yet dying. That's how dynamic we really are. We are embodied beings. Our mind, soul, spirit, emotions are all hosted and housed in a body. The body is not you, but only gives you permission to live in time and operate in a space. We are more than our bodies because the body only becomes animated by the non-physical forces that cannot be seen by the human eye, but finds full expression of itself when it becomes one with the body it controls. We are emotional beings. Our emotions are like a spectrum of colors that is both biochemical and bioelectrical tools for self-awareness and self-expression. We are enterprising beings. Take innovation and creativity, add a healthy heaping of risk and a drive to make things better, and you will get enterprising individuals. We are entrepreneurial beings. We are about doing the business called life. We are eternal beings. We may lose our bodies, but what remains is our soul and spirit. We are ethical beings. John dos Passos makes an inquiring into the psyche of the human beings. He asks, why do some people lie? What is right or wrong? And who gets to declare something is right or wrong? The mind cannot support moral chaos for long. Men are under as strong a compulsion to invent an ethical setting for their behaviors as spiders are to weave themselves webs. We are genetic beings. Francis Collins, geneticist, says, what does the genome tell us? There's surprisingly little genetic difference between a human and a chimpanzee, yet clearly we're different. We are godlike beings. We are graced with a godlike ability to transcend time and space in our minds and use the faculty of imagination to create things that are not improbable and impossible to those minds who do not believe. Henry Miller said, imagination is the voice of the daring. If there is anything godlike about God, it is that he dared to imagine everything. End of quote. And so can we. We are gustatory beings. We feel things in our belly, like the punch in the belly mistake you make, or the queasy feeling that something is wrong with your child, or that feeling deep within that when you get someone that is lying, for instance, and that hits you when especially someone makes an angry remark and then slams the door and they make that remark that is below the belt. That is what gustatory is all about. We are hormonal beings. This is the work of the endocrine system, which is made up of glands that produce hormones and release them into the blood, a work that is so magnificent when I think about it. The hormones cause certain reactions to occur in specific tissues. The endocrine system affects a large number of the body functions, including temperature and metabolism and sexual function and reproduction and moods and growth and development. We are innovative beings. How did the phone get smart? It got smart through innovation. Someone saw a different way of communicating and created something that we have never seen. Innovation is the art of seeing a better and a more efficient tomorrow. Innovators have an uncanny ability to peer into the future and to convince us that we can live there. We are intellectual beings. A person whose life and work revolves around the study or use of ideas such as in teaching or writing is called an intellect. Robert Louis Stevenson, an intellect himself, said, to be wholly devoted to some intellectual exercise is to have succeeded in life. We are intelligent beings. In 1983, an American developmental psychologist, Howard Gardner, described 9 types of intelligence. We are kinesthetic beings. Have you ever had goosebumps on your arms by listening to a beautiful song or just by hearing the voice of someone who deeply loved you tell you that they do? That is the simple way of explaining the kinesthetic being. We are miraculous beings. Renee Pira, embryologist, said, we're uniquely human from the moment the egg and the sperm fuses. a human program for the brain even begins to form. We are moral beings. G.K. Chesterton said, art like morality, or in this instance, morality like art, consists of drawing the line somewhere. We are neurological beings. Geography is to the earth what neurology is to the brain. We are olfactory beings, the sense of smell. Have you ever heard of the saying, I smell a rat? That means that what the eye misses, the sense of smell picks up. We're ontological beings. According to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, ontology is a theory concerned with the nature and relation of beings. We are passionate beings. I believe that life is all about being excited about something, like I'm excited about this. We see it naturally expressed in children. Seeing passion and enthusiasm helps accelerate growth, progress, and success. It gives us something to look forward to and to being motivated. We are philosophical beings. This is a character that is not just about the fields of study such as skepticism and hedonism and nihilism. It's about your personal philosophy. It's about how you show up in life and the values you bring to your relationship, your job, and the world. We're physical beings. Dr. Wiener Geet said, without a doubt, the most complex information processing system in existence is the human body. We are potent beings. Potential is our superpower, and it comes from the word potent, which is a Latin potentia, which means power and might and force. Figuratively, it means political power or authority or influence. So to simplify this concept, I want to look at one of the most powerful elements in nature, which is the seed. And if I held a seed in my hand and asked the average person, what do I have in my hand? They would probably say a seed. But that's obvious. When we look at potential, however, if you understand the nature of the seed, your answer would be, you're actually holding a forest. And so that's what potential is all about. We are problem-solving beings. Problem solvers are first problem discoverers, and we all have discovered our ample share of them. We are also procreative beings. We're productive beings. We're progressive beings. Walt Disney said we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're rational beings. Doug Cooper said, rationalization is foreplay to the human conscience. We're relational beings. We relate with everything around us. We relate to other people. We relate to nature. We relate to animals. We relate to money. Even our inanimate and imaginary objects, we relate to it. So who we are as relational beings is about connections and cooperation and communication and rapport. We are reproductive beings. Reproduction is about succession and survival. We are resilient beings. We are wired to overcome almost anything, like soot that becomes a diamond, a worm that becomes a butterfly. We rise up out of the ash heap as a phoenix in the sky. We are retrospective beings. We are selective beings. We are creatures who look for variety. We are self-centered beings. We are the sun in our own universe. We are sentient beings. Sentience is about sense perception without the use of intelligence or mental perception driven by feelings as opposed to perception or thought. We are serious beings. Not everything in life is fun and games. Life is to be enjoyed, yes, but there is always a time when laughter and pleasure is inappropriate because life itself is serious business. We are sexual beings. That's the fun stuff that adults call birds and bees activities. Children find the birds and bees conversation confusing. Even for Darwin, the father of evolution, sex was confusion. He wrote in 1862, "We do not even in the least know the final cause of sexuality. why new beings should be produced by the union of two sexual elements. The whole subject is as yet hidden in darkness. We are social beings. We are made for community, able to create communities, able to communicate with others. We are speaking beings. We communicate our thoughts, our feelings, our desires with language. We are spiritual beings. We are not just corporal or physical beings. We are souls who have a spirit living in a body. We're thinking beings. Rene Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Plato said, "Thinking is the talking of the soul with itself." We are unique beings. Ian Tattersall, anthropologist, said, "It is not what is human, but what is unique." We are visual beings. This also is the acuity of the mind and the heart. We are volitional beings. Life is made up of the sum choices we make. And finally, we are wealth-creating beings. In the days to come, we will discover that wealth is not limited to how much money we accumulate, but how we together are able to find harmony in our diversity and to know that we are much wealthier together than we are apart. So let us push for our collective destiny, our commonwealth, irrespective of race, color, ethnicity, or creed, because that's what being human is all about.